What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports back again with another one. We're gonna talk about Canelo Alvarez and what I think is gonna be his most likely next opponents. You know, after the fight in the post-fight press conference, Oscar De La Hoya named 4 potential opponents for Canelo Alvarez. It was Triple G, Sergey Kovalev, Demetrius Andrade, and Callum Smith. Okay, I'm going to take 2 of those opponents off the list. I don't think 2 of those guys are really viable as his next fight. I don't think Sergey Kovalev is going to be his next opponent because Sergey Kovalev is very close to a deal with Yard, a guy out of the UK. A guy that's undefeated, a guy that's making a lot of noise, making a lot of waves in the light heavyweight division. You know, they say that fight is it's pretty much almost a done deal. It's gonna be in Russia. I think it's gonna be on June the 29th. And I think Yard is making he's making probably 10 times what he's made in his highest money fight previously. You know, he's gonna make 10 million. He probably hasn't made $1 million. I think he probably haven't even touched $1 million in any of his fights, and it's been rumored that he's going to get $10 million to fight Sergey Kovalev. You know, they've got that Russian billionaire that's going to stage the fight down there in Russia, and he's going to pay Yard a big lump sum of money to get him to come over there to fight Kovalev in Kovalev home country. So that's the reason why Yard has probably agreed to go over there and fight as a challenger. He's going to be making $10 million. I don't know what Sergey is gonna make, but that's like I said, that's a big time money that's being offered to him. It's generational wealth type of money, and it's something that he can't turn down, man. This guy is to me. You look at Yard, he's a good fighter, but to me, he's not an A-level up and coming prospect. I don't think he's on that level. I don't think he's on that level like a Virgil Ortiz. If you watch him over the weekend, man, that guy is special. Or you watch the guy Flores. The guy that fought on the undercard of the Berta Beeve fight on ESPN this Saturday night. That guy is special. They've got a lot of special guys. Ennis, that guy is special. Teofimo Lopez, Stevenson, he's special. These guys are special. Ryan Garcia, to me, the jury is still out on him. You know, he kind of reminds me of a young De La Hoya, but De La Hoya had one of the best jabs in the game and had fight-changing power, knock guys out, man. So Garcia hasn't shown that type of power, but he's a very young guy. Maybe the power come as his body mature. But anyway, you can scratch your Kovalev off the potential opponent for Canelo Alvarez next fight. That's not going to be. He's fighting June the 29th, and I heard Oscar De La Hoya say in the post-press conference that he was going to be looking. They were going to maybe in a couple of weeks, hold up with him and the Vice President Eric Gomez and Canelo, maybe Canelo trainer. They're gonna team up and then come up with a person that they want to fight on in September. And I think that'll be Kovalev still won't have his fight in that short amount of time. He's not fighting until June 29th. So that's another it's May 6th. That's May, June. That's probably another 7 to 8 weeks away. So they don't want, he can still be having a fight. He still won't be able to. He still won't have fought Yard by then. So I don't think he's going to be available. I don't think the time frame of when they're going to be wanting to announce opponent and him still have a fight coming up, a big fight coming up against Yard. I don't think he'll be available for them to choose him as an opponent. Another guy I think you can take off that list is Andrade. Andrade is another guy that's fighting. I think he might be fighting either in late June, either the 29th or the 22nd, but he's fighting around the same time frame where Kovalev is supposed to be fighting. So it just is not going to match up, man, with the time frame, because you look at May and September is very close. It's you got June, July, August, September. September basically 4 months away from May. It's a close time frame, so they're gonna have to announce if he's fighting in September. They're gonna have to announce an opponent, in the next 2 to 4 weeks. I would guess. At least 2 to 4 weeks. I guess. I think 4 weeks at the maximum. So that's just not gonna work in the time frame because Demetrius Andrade got a fight coming up with Saluki that he's gonna be fighting. So they're not gonna be negotiating with him when he's got an upcoming fight, same as Kovalev. So I think those two opponents you can scratch off, Kovalev and Andrade. Plus Andrade's style is very slick fighters, very technically sound, a better overall technician than Jacobs. You know, very good jab. I don't think they'll fight him right now. I think Canelo's probably game. I think he probably, you know, he made the statement that he wants to fight and unify at 160. He probably wants to fight, but I don't think the Zone actually wants to fight. I think the Zone wants Canelo to fight Triple G. The vice president of the Zone said after the Canelo fight with Jacobs that's the fight they would want to make. That's the that's the fight that they think they can update subscriptions to the Zone. You know, high profile fight. You know, if you look at the first fight did 1.3 million. The rematch did 1.1 million in pay-per-view buys. So they looking at that, you know, and they looking at, you know, trying to upgrade their subscriptions. You know, their subscriptions haven't been as high as they wanted to be at this time. You know, when they look on the fights they put on, they had Anthony Joshua and Sergey Kovalev. No, my bad. Anthony Joshua and Alexander Povetkin. That didn't move the needle as far as subscriptions goes with the Zone. You look at Canelo Alvarez versus Rocky Fielding. I think they had like a 1 month free trial for that fight. That didn't they upped it a little bit, but they didn't up the subscriptions to what the Zone was looking for to upgrade to. They were looking for it to really maybe probably push up to 1 million, and it would feel way short. I think it was like 283,000 after the Canelo Rocky Fielding fight. So they looking into that. I think De La Hoya and Eric Gomez, I think they probably prefer Callum Smith. I think they trying to make Canelo, they trying to maximize Canelo popularity globally, and I think they're looking at him to be a true global superstar and fight overseas. And they wouldn't mind maybe him fighting Callum Smith, maybe putting that up there at Wembley Stadium, you know, have 80,000-90,000 people there, you know, put on a big fight over there, make it put it on the Zone. You know, they looking to do that. You know, they looking at you know, Callum Smith is an opponent that, you know, that he might have a size advantage over Canelo, but Canelo definitely has a hand speed and the overall boxing ability over Callum Smith, the high boxing IQ, and just a more natural and faster hands, and more naturally actually better footwork, and just a better overall natural boxer than Callum Smith. So I think they're looking at that. So it's gonna come down to me, it's coming down to two opponents. It's gonna either be Triple G or Callum Smith. I think those are two opponents it's gonna come down to. Scratch Demetrius Andrade, because he's got a fight in late June, and scratch Sergey Kovalev. He's got a fight in late June also. So those two guys. Time frame is not going to work with Canelo's schedule. So scratch those two. It's going to be either Triple G and Callum Smith. My opinion is I think it's going to be Callum Smith. I think that's the fight they're going to make. I think you look at Triple G. I just thought about this. Triple G fights June 8th. Okay, that's another month away. So if you believe what De La Hoya said, they were gonna hold up in a couple of weeks and come with a viable opponent. That actually they would actually have to wait, you know, to see what happens with Triple G in his fight. Even though Triple G is basically fighting a tune-up, I don't think that will actually cause a problem with them choosing him. Unlike Sergey Kovalev, he's fighting a top contender in yard. They can't just assume he's gonna get by that fight. That's not just a tune-up type of fight. Same thing with Andrade. He's fighting Saluki. He should win that fight, but that's not like a tune-up type of fight. You know what I'm saying? Saluki, a lot of people thought Saluki beat Danny Jacobs. I didn't think he did beat him. I thought Danny won that fight. You know, with the knockdown, I thought he clearly won that fight. But a lot of people thought Saluki outboxed Jacobs. So that's not a walkover type of fight. But with Triple G having a fight June 8th, and Callum Smith is going to fight on the undercard of Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz June the 1st. Those two guys to me are the two main options. I think it's going to be, if I had to make an educated guess, I think it's going to be Callum Smith, man. I think they're going to take advantage of Canelo's global popularity, fighting last two fights been on the Zone. And you know, when he fought Jacobs, that fight was carried by Matchroom over in the UK. You know, it was broadcast on Sky Sports. I think they're gonna strike while the iron's hot on that. Have his next fight against Callum Smith and capitalize on Canelo Alvarez global popularity. I think that's gonna be the next fight on Mexican Independence Day. Now, would it be over there in the UK, which 6 hours ahead of us on time? That means this fight gonna be taking place around 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Which will be a little bit different when people come. People want to watch the fight. People going to sports bars and stuff like that to watch the fight. It'll be a little bit different. But hey, it's on a Saturday. Going to a sports bar around 5 or 6 o'clock instead of going to a sports bar around 10 or 11 o'clock to watch him when he's fighting in the United States. Yeah, that's a little difference, but it still gives people enough time to get up, take care of business in the morning, run errands, pay bills, do what they got to do during the day, and get to your phone or get to a sports bar and watch Canelo fight in front of 90,000 people up in London. It'd be something different. Fighting in a big, huge soccer stadium. I think that's the next fight for Canelo. Canelo Alvarez versus Callum Smith is my opinion. I think they'll fight him in September, and then after that, I think they'll fight Triple G in May of 2020. I think that's going to be the route they're going to go. Unless, only thing that might stop it is the zone throw. Well, Canelo money is pretty much guaranteed, but if they throw a little bit more extra money on top of the pot, he made $35 million fighting Jacob. If they throw another whatever he's going to guarantee to make $35 million, if they throw another 10, 15 million, 50 million guaranteed, and they know the money's the fight's going to generate a lot of money at the gate, and hopefully up their subscriptions to over 1 million subscriptions, they might be willing to throw a little extra money at Canelo to get him to bypass Callum Smith and fight Triple G in September. So we'll see what happens, man. In my opinion, it's going to be Callum Smith, man. At 168 pounds, the super middleweight class, that'll give Canelo a chance to win another world title at a different weight class. He beat Rocky Fielding, but Rocky Fielding was the WBA regular champion. This here, the regular belt, that wasn't a major belt. That wasn't the major belt at 168. It wasn't a major champion at 168. Callum Smith is the recognized Ring Magazine champion at 168 pounds. He is the #1 guy at 168 pounds. When you ask who's the #1 guy at when Crawford won the undisputed belt, when he knocked out Ndangu, you asked who was the king at 140. It was Terrence Crawford. You ask who's the king now at 168. Callum Smith won that tournament. It's Callum Smith. He beat George Groves, and he is the #1 man at 168 pounds. So that will give Canelo opportunity to beat the man and be the man at 2 divisions, and be the man at 160 and be the #1 man at 168. So we'll see how it play out. In other boxing news, we're gonna talk a little bit about Sergey Kovalev. Sergey Kovalev, like I said, they're very, very, very close to a deal between him and Yard, and that fight is going to take place in Russia. It's going to be on the ESPN platform. I guess I would assume it's going to be on ESPN Plus, because the fight is, you're paying Yard $10 million, and Sergey Kovalev is going to make good money for this fight too. So a fight where you got to pay both fighters a huge amount of guaranteed money. They probably have to put it on ESPN Plus to pay for that fight. So I'm looking for that fight to be on ESPN Plus. It's going to be in Russia, so it's going to be interesting to see what time that fight takes place, because Russia, London is 6 hours ahead of us. London is 6 hours ahead of us on the East Coast. I think Russia is actually almost a full 12 hours ahead of United States TV time on the East Coast. So it actually would have to that fight would, if that fight is taking place early in the morning in Russia, then it will be, like say that fight is early Sunday morning in Russia. Yeah, it'll be on at it'll be on in Saturday evening in the United States. But if that fight is taking place at a Saturday night in Russia, then it'll be morning time, Sunday morning before we do it. I guess they will, since it's be on ESPN, they'll put it on at a time where it's convenient for the U.S. Customer, the U.S. Boxing fan to watch the fight. So we'll see what happens on that front. In other news, man, Terence Crawford did an interview on ES News, basically saying he didn't think that he didn't think the Errol Spence fight's going to happen. He's basically saying, you know, he's saying he's not going to bow down to Terence Crawford or Al Heyman or nobody like that. You know, he don't think the fight's going to happen. And he's not. He basically, I think his basic problem is he's not going. He's been hearing that, you know, he's going to have to take maybe a 70-30 split once Errol beats Porter and beats the winner of Pacquiao and Thurman. He'll have 3 of the 4 major belts. And with his pay-per-view buys against Garcia doing over 350,000 buys, and Crawford versus Khan pay-per-view buys did 150,000 buys. That's basically 3-to-1. That he would get the bigger a 3-to-1 basically 3-to-1 breakdown of money. You know, 70-30 or maybe 65-35 at best. So we'll see what happens on that. I don't think he's willing to accept that. I don't think Bob Arum will be willing to accept that. They want 50-50. My opinion is, you know, I'm a Crawford fan and I'm a Errol Spence fan, but it's not a 50-50 fight. If you're looking at the who's bringing in the most money, who's bringing in the most revenue in their fights, it's always that Errol Spence bringing in 47,000 to Cowboy Stadium against Mikey Garcia. Even though they had a lot of Hispanics in there, and Mikey drew his fans, fans out there too, along with a huge amount of black fans that came out to the fight. I think Errol's in an 8-side position on this one. You know, when Terence Crawford fought in Omaha, he's not generated anywhere close to 40,000. You know, even though the statements he's fought in, I think he's in Prudential Center in Omaha. It probably seats around 15,000, and it's pretty much sold out. So he's drawing good crowds there, but it's just not he's just not doing the numbers. You know, doing the numbers there, and he hasn't fought in you know, where Nebraska Cornhuskers play, the football stadium over up in Lincoln. He hasn't fought there. Maybe he needs to fight there and see what kind of draw he does there. If he can pull 45-50,000, maybe he fight a Kell Brook his next fight. Maybe he can see what he can draw there against Kell Brook. But I don't see that fight happening in Lincoln. You know, that fight, if it happens, it's gonna probably more likely be in Madison Square Garden, same venue that when he fought Amir Khan. So we'll see what happens on that, man. He's clearly don't feel that he should be the B-side in that fight. He feels that, you know, it should be a 50-50 split down the middle. That's not going to happen. I think Errol's going to be willing to work with him. I think he did an interview recently. He said, I think it was yesterday, he said he would be willing to give him 60-40. You know, I guess he'd do that out of respect for Terence Crawford and what he's done, you know, in the boxing. Undefeated. Great resume, undisputed at 140. You know, number 1 on a lot of pound-for-pound lists. And I think he'll be, you know, I think he'll, out of respect to Terence Bud Crawford, he'll probably do 60-40. But it's not going to be 50-50. 60-40 be the best deal Terence can get. If they can get 60-40, if Errol say, hey, out of respect, I give you 60-40, even though I should give you 70-30. You know, and I can be nice and give you 65-35 is really being nice. Because that's about the best. You know, 60-40, that's not, you know, that's giving you really more than actually you deserve if you look at the numbers you bringing in and the numbers I bring in. But hopefully the fight get made, man, because that's the fight boxing fans want to see outside of Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence is a fight everybody wants to see, man. Hopefully that fight will take place. We'll see what happens. In other news in boxing, man, another thing happened. The top 5 pound-for-pound rankings came out today. And the new rankings has Canelo Alvarez as the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter. It had Canelo number 1. I think it had Vasily Lomachenko number 2. Terence Crawford number 3. Errol Spence number 4. And I forgot who they had number 5. I think they had Nawu number 5. But let's just focus on the top 4 for, I don't know, I can't remember the top 5. I think it was Nawu, but it might have been somebody else. Let's just focus on the top 4. Because that's where I got the, you know, I agree that them four guys are the top 4, but I don't agree with the order. Look, Canelo, give him credit. He beat Danny Jacobs. But to me, Danny Jacobs is a B-level fighter. He's nothing special. He's not, you know, in the 160-pound division, Danny Jacobs is probably, to me, number 4, number 5 in the 160 pound division. I got Canelo 1, Andrade I probably got 2, Billy Joe Saunders I got 3 when he was there. He's moved up to 168, but I got him 3 because he hasn't fought at 168 yet. But until the end, his last fight was 160. I got Billy Joe Saunders number 3. I got and I got maybe then you could put maybe Danny at 4. To me, he's the 4th best middleweight. I wouldn't favor him to beat none of the guys ahead. I wouldn't favor. I think Andrade beats him. I think Billy Joe Saunders beats him, and I definitely, as you see, Canelo just beat him. So you beat the 4th best guy at 160 pounds, and you beat the 4th best guy. Yeah, that shouldn't make you number 1 pound for pound. I had him number 4, and number 4. He beat Danny Jacobs. That's not gonna move him up to number 1 in my opinion. I still got my same top 4. I got Terrence number 1, Terrence Crawford number 1, Errol Spence number 2, Vasily Lomachenko number 3, Canelo Alvarez number 4, and Jared Hurd number 5. We're gonna see what Jared Hurd does this weekend. He's got a fight against J-Rock coming up in his hometown this Saturday on Fox. We'll see how that play out, but a lot of people got Canelo at number 1, but he's got a great resume. Don't get me wrong. His resume is probably, if you just base it on resume, his resume is probably better than any of the other guys in the top 5. I give him that. He probably got the best resume. He got the number 1 resume. Number 2 resume is probably Crawford, and then you battle up number 3, who got the third best resume out of Errol and Vasily. So both of those guys got some good fighters on their resume. It's just which ones, in your opinion, you think's better out of those 2 guys? But to me, he's definitely got the best resume out of the top 4. But I'm not just basing it off of resume. I'm basing this off of domination of how when you fought other champions in your weight class. Your style, boxing technique, boxing styles, your sweet science, your aggressiveness, your defense. Your overall domination. When you fought top competition, I look at all that, and I just think Terrence Crawford, when he's fought top competition, he's dominated guys. He's left no doubt. He's not had any fights where you say, well, I don't know, man, Terrence might have lost that fight when he fought Gamboa. No, it wasn't none of that. He stopped Gamboa. Well, I don't know, man, when he fought Ndango, that was a close fight. It went 12 rounds, could have won either way. No, he knocked Ndango out in the 3rd round. Oh, when he fought Poster, man, that was 2 undefeated champions at that weight class. It was nip and tuck, man. I think Poster might have won the fight, man. They gave it to Terrence because he was the money man. No, that wasn't the case. He dominated Poster. He won, dominating him. The first 4 rounds it was competitive, but after that he took over, made the adjustments, and dominated Poster. Man, made Poster look like a C-level fighter, and that's why he's the pound for pound number 1 fighter. Same thing with Errol, man. Errol ain't never been in no fight with. I don't know Errol, man. When he fought Lamar Peterson, man, I don't know. That was a close fight, nip and tuck, man. I think Lamar won it, but they gave it to Errol because he's a money man. No, he stopped Lamar Peterson. You see what I'm saying? Nobody made Lamar Peterson look like that. He stopped him outside of Matisse. Matisse caught him with a 1 shot, but he beat down Lamar Peterson. He fought Mikey Garcia. Nobody dominated Mikey Garcia. He had Mikey Garcia in survival mode after about the 3rd or 4th round. Beat him down, gave him a boxing lesson. Jab, overhand right. Mikey tried to throw a punch, got out of range. Mikey couldn't do nothing. Fought a beautiful fight, put on a master class boxing performance in that fight. That's what I'm talking about. When you fight top level fight, you gotta dominate them, man. Make it look like they shouldn't even be in the ring with you. And that's what Errol and Terrence Crawford do. That's why they my top 2 pound for pound. Canelo in there with Lara. He fought Lara, man. I thought Lara won that fight. I thought Lara won that fight. He definitely won in the first half of the fight. Canelo came on strong in the second half of the fight, and Lara didn't do himself any favors because he was running, he was moving, but he wasn't throwing no punches. He was just basically, moving and just like I'm just, trying not to get hit no more. That's what made it look bad to me. He wasn't making Canelo pay. When Canelo started going to the body, and he got on his bicycle and ran too much in the second half of that fight, and I think that's why he probably lost that fight. He wasn't aggressive enough in the second half of that fight after he did good in the first half. But anyway, it was a close fight, man. I thought he won that fight 7 rounds to 5. He fought Cotto. Cotto's a legend. Boxing going to the Hall of Fame when his name is eligible. He's a definite fighter. I thought that fight was 6-6. You know, in the first half of the fight, Canelo was winning. He won that. He was looking good, man. I predicted Cotto was going to beat him based on how he looked in the Sergio Martinez fight. But Cotto rallied in the second half of that fight, and I thought he tied that fight up. I thought it was a draw. I thought if you had to give it to somebody, you would give it to Canelo, but I had it 6-6. You know, there's no way I could have just outright gave it to Cotto, but I thought he rallied in the second half and squeaked out a draw. So, you know, you fighting these top-level fighters. You fought Trout. I thought Trout beat him. But, you know, they had that open scoring, and Trout was behind, so Trout had to be more aggressive and then getting dropped. And then once he got dropped, it was a wrap. Then he needed a straight-up knockout to win that fight. He was so far behind on the judges' scorecard. But in my opinion, I thought he won the fight. And I had that 7-5 with the Canelo knockdown. He with the knockdown. I thought Trout won that. I thought he won that fight. 114-113. 1-point win. 7-5 with the knockdown. You know, Canelo cut it down to 1 point. So you know, he had a dominated top competition. And even this fight against Jacobs, he won this fight. Don't get me wrong. I had it 8-4, I think, or maybe 9-3 at worst. I gave it was a couple close rounds. So I think I had it 116-112, 8-4 for Canelo. But Canelo didn't make it look like Jacobs shouldn't be in the ring with him. He didn't beat him like, oh man, this is a domination. It wasn't no domination like Crawford did Postal, or Crawford did Ndagu, another champion, or how Errol Spence did Garcia, or even how Vasily Lomachenko did Nicholas Walters, another champion. Made him like he shouldn't even be in the ring when dominated, made the man quit. Or how Lomachenko did Guillermo Rigondeaux, made him quit. This is a champion, a Hall of Famer, a medalist, one of the best fighters to ever come out of Cuba, made that man quit. One of the best fighters to ever come out of Cuba in the lower weight divisions. You know, made that man quit, made like he shouldn't even be in the ring with him. I'm talking about when he beat Rigondeaux, he beat, you know, sometimes even with this would make Lomachenko so great. Even with the Crawford Poster fight, it took Crawford about 4 rounds to kind of figure out Poster, and then he put his foot on the gas pedal and ran over Poster, basically. Ran over him and then backed up and ran over him again, just took control of the second half of the fight. Lomachenko in that Rigondeaux fight, he took over that fight right in the first round. He took away all hope against Rigondeaux in the first round. He figured him out real quick. That was surprising because Rigondeaux's got a tough style to figure out, man, because he's very he doesn't waste a lot of energy. He's like he set traps for you. He's trying to lure you in, and he counters off your aggressiveness. But Lomachenko went in that first round and started throwing punches from different angles and had Rigondeaux ducking. And when he was ducking, he was on top of him, hitting him all aside the head and switching angles on him. And he took over that fight. First round, it was pretty much, you know, he took away all hope from Rigondeaux. You know, and you ain't never, you know, he basically made Rigondeaux quit. You know, Rigondeaux shouldn't even been in the ring with him. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I got to keep those guys ahead of Canelo, because when those guys fight other champions, other A-level fighters, they make them like they shouldn't even be in the ring with them. That's what those 3 guys do. And Lomachenko, Errol Spence, and Terrence Crawford. Canelo has not shown that yet. He won 2 close fights with Triple G. A lot of people thought Triple G won those 2 fights. I definitely thought Triple G won the first fight. The second fight, I had a draw, but like I said, kind of like with the Cotto fight, I couldn't give that fight outright to Triple G. You know, if you had to give that fight to somebody, and you say draws were illegal or something. They say we can't have no draws. You got to make a decision. Just like we can't have no ties in the playoffs and in the NFL. You got to kick a game-winning field goal. We got to play it to somebody win, and we got to decide on a winner or pick a winner. Then I would have had to go with Canelo in that second fight, because to me he landed the cleaner and the more harder punches in that fight. Even though I thought Triple G actually came on strong in the second half of that fight and actually boxed well in that fight, especially in the second half. But bottom line is he's not dominated none of the fighters that everybody consider A-level. Terrence Crawford has, Vasily Lomachenko has, and Errol Spence Jr. has. That's my problem with. That's why I got to keep Canelo in top 4. Now he's got future fights to prove me wrong and maybe move up. You know, he fights Demetrius Andrade and dominate him, maybe drop him and dominate him, like, you know, dominate him. Then maybe he got a chance to move ahead of those 3 guys. But right now he's right at number 4, right where I had him before the fight. And since the Jacobs fight, ain't nothing changed in my opinion. He's still number 4 in the pound for pound. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens with that. I heard that his knee has been bothering Canelo Alvarez. He's having knee problems, and they're gonna get that looked at. Maybe he might get a knee scope or something like that. If he gets a knee scope, maybe that might push him back. Maybe he might not fight in September. Maybe he might have to wait till December. You know, he fought Rocky Field in December of 2018. Maybe because he was suspended for September due to the Club Brutal that he got tested positive with before the Triple G rematch. So maybe they push that fight. Maybe they push it back to December if he needs to have surgery on his knee. So we'll see what happens on that. They're gonna look at that and see what happens. Because he had I think he had the knee covered up in this fight, just like he had the knee covered up in the Rocky Fielding fight. So they might need to look at that and maybe try to take care of that right now. You know, and then maybe that might push the September date back to December. So we'll see what happens. So we'll see what's going to happen. Now I'm finna get up on out of here, man. I'm gonna get up out of here, man. Go watch a little NBA. We got the Boston Celtics at home against the Milwaukee Bucks. Finna watch Uncle Drew, Kyrie Irving against the Greek Freak, and see what happens, man. Milwaukee got a chance to take a commanding lead, go up 3-1. You know, they got a lot of talent on that team, a deep bench. You know, and they seem to make the adjustments on Boston, doing a good job of making life tough on Kyrie Irving. You know, they've done a good job on him with Bledsoe and guys like that. They made it real tough on Kyrie, man. Kyrie struggling. They're gonna need a big game out of Kyrie because Kyrie is the only A-level player that Boston has. Boston has a bunch of good players, B-level players, Horford and Tatum. Tatum got to wake up, man. Tatum got to play, man. He's had a horrible series. He's got to step up. He played well last year without Kyrie, but he's got to step up, man. Be that number 2 scoring option to go along with Kyrie. You know what Al Horford gonna give you on defense, rebounding, and scoring. He's gonna score his points, but they need another guy that can take over on the perimeter to ease some of the pressure off of Kyrie Irving. That's got to be Jason Tatum. So we'll see what happens in that game, man. I'm gonna get out of here, and get ready to watch that game. This is JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. I holla.